Welcome everybody to the first post DLC build. This is an 800% critical damage build, the maximum critical damage you can achieve in the game, and I will show you how to do it. But first of all, I want to thank you everybody so much for reaching 500 subs. It really means a lot to me, and it only took me 3 months to achieve that. Thanks to you guys. I appreciate it really much. Please don't let me wait another 3 months now before we reach 1000. So please subscribe, keep your watch time high, and let's go. This build will be a triple hybrid build where we don't have to focus so much on the abilities like in the build I released before the DLC. We can just use some of the new engravings to make a really awesome build. And of course I improved it, and I wouldn't be T7 PDM if I didn't squeeze out the last inch of damage here in this build. I tried to make an overrun assassination triple hybrid, which means you have enough assassin damage to overrun every mercenary or nightmare here without using any ability. Of course you can still use rush assassination, that's still possible, but you don't even have to use any ability to do it. And of course you can still kill the mercenaries or nightmare with Fury of the Bloodline, with overpower attacks, and also with a predator shot, and you have a 50-50 chance that even your devastating shots will kill the mercenaries or nightmare. Here's an overview of how much damage each ability will deal with this build. So Predator Shot 4 to 5 million is a safe bet, as well as Fury of the Bloodline and Overpower. You will always kill mercenaries with that one. And rush assassination and normal assassination will just deal the amount of health of your mercenaries, so the maximum 3.6 million. So let's have a look at the stats here. We have 57,000 hunter damage, we have 61,000 warrior damage, and 386,000 assassin damage. And that amount of assassin damage is quite low, but we will use up to 800% crit damage here in this build, which is absolutely amazing. That is the maximum you can achieve in this game. 800% is absolutely the maximum, and we combine it with a 95% chance here in this variant. I will show you another variant later on where you have 100% but slightly less crit damage. As usual, I will show you the damage per engraving for each item here. The exact calculations can be found in the description of the video, and I will also show you the impact of the hunter damage conversion. So the converted hunter damage is shown in yellow color here. So yellow assassin and warrior damage means that has been converted from the hunter damage perk. All our items will have hunter damage as primary engraving to get the maximum out of the hunter damage conversion. Here our two swords are hunter damage, damage to swords, critical damage, and one of the swords will get 30% damage while full health, and the other will get the 30% armor penetration bonus. Then we have the Oaken Bow of Chambers, which increases our crit damage to the 800%, with hunter damage, headshot damage, crit damage, and 50% convert hunter damage to all damage. As I explained in one of my last videos, hunter damage conversion converts only the primary engravings, not what is already all damage, so you cannot use the Falx of Olympus to increase it even further. That is ignored. It only uses the primary engravings or the ones you have with 20% additionally. And one of the questions from my last video where I explained the damage conversion was also that these engravings do not stack, so you can only use one engraving. So either use hunter, warrior or assassin damage conversion. When you use more than one, the other is getting completely ignored and has no effect. For our armor, we use a helmet with hunter damage, 20% crit chance while full health, critical damage and headshot damage. We use the perfect hunter gauntlets here with hunter damage, critical damage and critical chance. Then a perfect hunter belt, but we will not engrave another 50% headshot here, but instead we engrave 25% crit damage at full health and 5% chance at full health. On the chest we engrave hunter damage, all damage, critical damage and another hunter damage. If you can find a chest with hunter damage and assassin damage, or hunter damage with warrior damage. You can also use that, it is better than all damage here. Then on the boots we have hunter damage, crit chance, crit damage and another hunter damage. So all in all, we use a lot of hunter damage and hunter damage as fourth engravings here to get the maximum out of our hunter damage conversion. So in this hybrid build we don't need any other primary than hunter, because we will convert it to the other damage types anyway. Since hunter damage is the hardest to increase in a triple hybrid build, it makes sense to use hunter as a primary base here, but of course you can do it otherwise and use assassin and warrior instead. Here in the stats we have 213% warrior and assassin damage, which comes mainly from the damage conversion. I will show you the formula right here. And we convert all the 300% hunter damage and get our other two damage types here. Then we have 265% headshots, that is quite good. We could go over 315, but 265 is okay. 90% damage with swords, and then overwhelmingly 800% critical damage. The maximum you can achieve in the game. It is not possible to go any higher. And we have here 95% critical chance. I will also show you a version with 100% critical chance with a little lower critical damage just in a few seconds when we are done with the stats here. And then we have fire damage 56%, which is just a slight boost for the hunter damage here. Then we have no resistances in this version. This is also what I change in the next version, so stay tuned. We will have a version with more resistances and with higher crit chance right after this. Then we have a couple of adrenaline bonuses here, which are nice when you make a lot of devastating or predator shots or multi-shots. So mainly for the hunter stuff you will need a little bit of buff here. Now I will show you the second variant, which has 100% crit chance and a couple of resistances here. First of all, we will change the oaken bow of chambers to the Achilles bow, and we will engrave the convert 50% hunter damage on the Achilles bow. The Achilles bow is a legendary bow and has 10% crit chance naturally, while it also boosts our devastating shot, which is a nice deal. Then on the helmet, instead of 50% headshot damage, we will engrave 40% chance to ignore half damage, and we will do the same on the mercenary belt here, another 40% chance to ignore half damage. When you put additional 20 points in mastery, then you will achieve 100% half damage. Now you might think, why don't you use become ISO enhanced on the helmet? Well, I think that is a one-time lifesaver which is really useful. You can engrave it instead of the 40% chance to ignore half damage on the helmet, but the cooldown time is 2 minutes, so you will probably have another critical situation within the next 2 minutes, and since you don't see the cooldown time for this ability because it is a passive ability that automatically triggers, I find it more useful to get 100% chance to ignore half damage, and that is a probably better lifesaver than relying on an ability which triggers only every 2 minutes. But that is just a recommendation, of course you can completely ignore my recommendations. So in the stats of this second version you see that we have now 100% critical chance but only 725% critical damage. So that is a slightly trade-off, 5% chance versus 75% crit damage. It is up to you if you want these 100%. The downside of this is that you will probably not be able to one-hit the mercenaries with a normal assassination, or nightmare at least, and you will also decrease your chance to one-hit mercenaries with devastating shots. But in the end you have a much safer build here with 100% chance to ignore half damage, and I think that is also a good option if you want to play a little bit safer here. Since this is a triple hybrid build, we will use a lot of abilities here. For the hunter side, Sixth Sense, Arrow Master, only 2 points here, we don't need explosives. Then multi-shot, devastating shot, predator shot. The Archery Master, which refills our first adrenaline segment and gives us 40% hunter damage. Overpower is just 1 point here because we want to get the Arrows of Artemis. Overpower never crits, it is absolutely useless, but Arrows of Artemis pierce shields, pierce the walls. Really useful if you don't want to waste an engraving on arrows pierce shields, then go for the Arrows of Artemis. Health refill, Ring of Chaos, Fury of the Bloodline. Really powerful in combination with Overpower, because Fury gives you 3 segments, Overpower uses up 3 segments, so really powerful. Go for Flaming Attacks, which increases 40% fire damage with Fire Master, Gear Master, Weapons Master. And don't forget to go for the Charged Heavy Attack, which has 300% damage instead of 150. Still wrong. I think Ubisoft will never correct this. Shadow Assassin, 40% assassin damage increase. Rush Assassination. You don't need Critical Assassination because you can kill the mercenary with a normal assassination already. If that doesn't help, then simply use Rush Assassination. You can go for Hero Strike. We have a lot of assassin damage that will also enable you to kill the mercenaries with Hero Strike, but I find Overpower just more useful because it deals more damage. Then I use Stealth Master to increase the out of combat damage. Now we are finally at the mastery points. Since this is a triple hybrid build, we will use a lot of mastery points. Just to remind you, if you don't have as many points as I have, then just go for the abilities I maxed out, and all others will just have secondary priority. So for Hunter, I will increase Hunter damage by 18%, then crit chance at maximum, crit damage at maximum, headshot damage at maximum, and then not so important will be damage with bow charge shot and bow charging speed. So really focus on crit chance and crit damage, that's the most important here on Hunter. And I will also give a couple of points here in adrenaline on headshot kill. That's not really needed, but if you have the points, then go for it. Also here I will increase 10% devastating shot by using a couple of points on the hunter abilities and the rest on devastating shot itself. If you don't have the points, then skip that. Here on the warrior tab we will go for 18% warrior, then a little bit health, a little bit armor and a little bit fire. This is all secondary priority. Most important is that you increase warrior damage and armor penetration. Armor penetration is one of the most useful items here. Then on the assassin tab we will use 8% damage when time is slowed down, so that increases our sixth sense and assassination damages here. We'll go 18% assassin damage, maximum damage with sword, and most important, crit chance while full health, crit damage while full health. Then I buff a little bit damage while full health, adrenaline stuff, and also damage with elites and bosses. So that's the end of this video and the end of this build. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, leave a comment. Probably at the weekend I will give you already another build, and that might be the one from the Atlantis gameplay. So stay tuned and thanks for watching.